Abraham Lincoln was born in 18 a small log cabin in Kentucky, USA. His family was very poor. They did not have much food, money, or comfort. Life was hard from the very beginning. When Abraham was young, his family moved many times. They were looking for better land and a better life. Each move was difficult. They had to build new homes and start again from zero. Abraham learned early that life was not easy and nothing was guaranteed. One of the most painful moments in his childhood was losing his mother. She died when Abraham was only 9 years old. This loss deeply affected him. He became quiet and thoughtful. Books became his escape from sadness and loneliness. Abraham did not go to school regularly. In total, he had less than 1 year of formal education. But he loved learning. He borrowed books from neighbors and read them by candlelight at night. He believed that knowledge could change his future. Even as a child, Abraham showed strong character. He worked hard, helped his family, and never complained too much. People noticed that he was honest and kind. These qualities would later define him as a leader. This was the beginning of a long and difficult journey. Abraham Lincoln did not know it yet, but his pain, poverty, and patience were shaping him for something much greater. Lesson: hard beginnings do not decide your future. They prepare you for it. As Abraham Lincoln grew older, life did not become easier. In fact, it became harder. His family moved from place to place, always searching for better opportunities. Abraham had to work from a very young age. He helped his father on the farm, cutting wood, planting crops, and doing heavy physical labor. The work was tiring, but it taught him discipline and responsibility. Abraham loved learning, but he had very little formal education. He went to school for less than 1 year in total. There were no libraries nearby, no teachers to guide him. Still, he did not give up on education. He borrowed books from neighbors and read them at night by candlelight. He read everything he could find: history books, law books, and biographies of great leaders. Slowly, he improved his vocabulary, thinking skills, and communication. Reading became his escape from poverty and hardship. During his teenage years, Abraham experienced deep personal loss. His mother died when he was only 9 years old. This event left a strong emotional mark on him. He became quieter and more thoughtful. Pain and sadness shaped his character, but they also made him more compassionate toward others. As a young man, Abraham tried many different jobs. He worked as a shopkeeper, a surveyor, a postmaster, and even a soldier for a short time. Unfortunately, many of these attempts ended in failure. His small business failed, and he lost money. At times, he felt embarrassed and hopeless. But one thing was clear: he never stopped trying. Abraham Lincoln did not see failure as the end. He saw it as a lesson. Each mistake taught him something new. Each difficult experience made him stronger. Even when others doubted him, he continued to believe that his life had a purpose. As Abraham Lincoln grew older, he wanted to build a better life. He decided to become a lawyer, even though he had very little formal education. He did not go to a famous university. Instead, he studied law by himself, reading books late at night after long days of hard work. Life was still difficult. Lincoln often felt lonely and stressed. He failed in business again and again, and he fell into deep depression at one point in his life. Many people around him succeeded faster, while he struggled to move forward. But Lincoln believed that learning and self-improvement were the keys to a better future. After years of study, Abraham Lincoln finally became a lawyer. He was not rich, but he was honest and respected. People trusted him because he always tried to do what was right. He listened carefully, spoke clearly, and treated everyone with fairness. Lincoln then decided to enter politics. He wanted to help ordinary people like himself. However, politics was full of competition and disappointment. He ran for political office many times and lost again and again. Each loss was painful, but he did not quit. Instead of giving up, Lincoln learned from every defeat. He improved his speaking skills, understood people better, and became stronger mentally. He believed that failure was not the end, but a lesson. This period of Lincoln's life teaches us an important message. Right finger even when life feels heavy and progress is slow, patience and hard work can change your future. After losing his seat in Congress, Abraham Lincoln felt deeply disappointed. He had worked hard, but the result was another failure. Many people around him believed his political career was finished. Some even advised him to give up politics and choose a safer path. But Lincoln did not give up. Instead, he returned to his work as a lawyer. He traveled from town to town, often on horseback, visiting small courts in rural areas. Life on the road was hard. He slept in simple places, ate modest food, and earned just enough to survive. However, this period helped him understand ordinary people better. He listened to farmers, workers, and poor families, and learned about their struggles. During these years, Lincoln failed again and again in politics. He lost a race for the U.S. Senate. He failed to get important political nominations. He was often criticized in newspapers and mocked by his opponents. Each failure was painful. At times, Lincoln felt lonely and tired. But he believed that failure was not the end, it was a lesson. He carefully analyzed his mistakes and tried to improve himself. Lincoln was known for his honesty and strong moral values. People started calling him Honest Abe. Even when he lost elections, many respected him for his character. He refused to lie or cheat to gain power. This integrity slowly built trust among the public. Most importantly, Lincoln developed patience. He understood that leadership was not about quick success, but about long-term responsibility. He kept studying, speaking, and preparing, even when success seemed far away. At a time when many would quit, Abraham Lincoln chose to continue. His resilience during repeated failures was shaping him into the leader he would later become. After many years of failure and poverty, Abraham Lincoln finally found a stable position. In 1834, he was elected to the Illinois state legislature. This was a small victory, but for Lincoln, it meant everything. It proved that people trusted him and believed in his ideas. However, success did not come easily even after this achievement. Lincoln still struggled financially. He often lived very simply and sometimes borrowed books because he could not afford to buy them. Despite this, he never stopped learning. He studied law on his own, reading late at night by candlelight. In 1836, after years of hard work, Lincoln became a licensed lawyer. He started traveling from town to town, helping ordinary people solve legal problems. This job taught him how to listen carefully, speak clearly, and understand people's struggles. These skills later became essential to his leadership. During this time, Lincoln also faced emotional pain. He suffered from deep sadness and depression. Some days, he felt hopeless. But instead of giving up, he focused on his purpose. He believed that life had meaning and that his work could help others. Lincoln's reputation slowly grew. People saw him as an honest man who cared about justice. He was not perfect, but he was patient, kind, and determined. Each small step forward reminded him that progress is built over time, not overnight. After many political defeats, Abraham Lincoln felt tired but not defeated. By this time, he was well known for his honesty, clear thinking, and strong moral values. People respected him, even if they did not always agree with him. Lincoln continued to speak openly against slavery. He believed slavery was wrong, but he also believed change should come through law and patience, not violence. This balanced view made him different from many politicians of his time. In 1858, Lincoln ran for the U.S. Senate against Stephen Douglas. They had famous public debates across Illinois. These debates made Lincoln popular nationwide. Although Lincoln lost the election, he actually gained something more valuable: national attention. Many people across the country started to see Lincoln as a strong leader with a clear vision for the future. Even after losing again, Lincoln did not give up. He understood an important lesson. Sometimes you lose the battle, but you win experience. He used every failure as preparation. Every speech made him stronger. Every loss made him wiser. At home, Lincoln lived a simple life. He was not rich. He worked hard, studied law, read books, and improved himself daily. His patience and discipline shaped his character. By 1860, the United States was deeply divided. Tension between the North and the South was growing fast. The country needed a leader who could stay calm, think clearly, and unite people. Many political leaders began to believe that Abraham Lincoln was that person. Small diamond key message for learners. Failure does not mean the end. Sometimes, failure is training for leadership. As the Civil War continued, Abraham Lincoln faced the hardest decisions of his life. The country was divided, families were separated, and thousands of soldiers were dying. Many people blamed Lincoln for the war and wanted him to resign. Newspapers criticized him every day. Some even called him weak and unfit to lead. But Lincoln did not give up. One of his most important decisions was the Emancipation Proclamation. In 1863, Lincoln declared that enslaved people in the Confederate States were free. This was a very risky move. Some politicians warned him that it could make the war worse. Others feared losing support from the public. Lincoln knew the decision was morally right. He believed that freedom and equality were the true foundation of the United States. Even though the law did not immediately free all enslaved people, it changed the purpose of the war. The fight was no longer only about saving the Union, it was also about ending slavery. This decision showed Lincoln's moral courage and leadership. The pressure on Lincoln was intense. He worked long hours, slept very little, and carried deep sadness in his heart. He lost his young son during the war, which caused him great pain. Still, he continued to lead with patience and determination. Lincoln often said that leadership was not about power, but about responsibility. Slowly, the Union Army began to gain strength. Important victories gave hope to the nation. People started to believe that the war could end and that the country could be united again. Through all the suffering, Lincoln remained calm, focused, and committed to his vision. Abraham Lincoln's story teaches us an important lesson. True leaders stand firm during the darkest times. They choose what is right, even when it is difficult. As Abraham Lincoln became more confident as a leader, the country was moving closer to a serious crisis. The issue of slavery was dividing the nation deeply. Northern states wanted to stop slavery, while southern states depended on it and wanted to protect it. When Lincoln won the presidential election in 1860, many southern states were angry. They did not trust him and believed he would end slavery completely. Soon after his victory, several states decided to leave the United States. This led to the beginning of the American Civil War. Lincoln became president at one of the most difficult times in American history. The country was divided, people were afraid, and violence was growing. Many thought he was too weak or inexperienced to lead during a war. But Lincoln believed strongly that the country must stay united. As president, Lincoln faced huge pressure every day. He had to make decisions that affected millions of lives. Soldiers were dying, families were suffering, and the future of the nation was uncertain. Still, Lincoln remained calm, thoughtful, and determined. He spent long nights reading reports, writing letters, and thinking carefully before making decisions. Lincoln listened to different opinions, even from people who disagreed with him. He believed that a good leader must be willing to learn and take responsibility. Even during the darkest moments of the war, Lincoln did not lose hope. He believed that the nation could be saved and rebuilt. His leadership during this time showed the world that true strength comes from patience, courage, and a deep sense of responsibility. Being president during the Civil War was the hardest period of Lincoln's life. Every day, he received reports about battles, wounded soldiers, and families who lost their sons. Thousands of people were dying, and the nation was deeply divided. Lincoln often felt lonely and exhausted. Many people criticized him. Some said he was too slow. Others said he was too radical. Newspapers attacked him, politicians doubted him, and even some generals failed him. Still, Lincoln stayed calm and focused on his mission, to save the Union. One of his most difficult decisions was related to the war strategy. Some generals were afraid to act. They delayed attacks and wasted time. Lincoln finally realized that strong leadership required courage, even when choices were painful. He replaced weak generals and chose leaders who were ready to take responsibility. At the same time, Lincoln never lost his humanity. He often visited wounded soldiers in hospitals. He spoke with them, listened to their stories, and showed deep compassion. These moments reminded him why the war had to end and why freedom was worth fighting for. Despite all the pressure, Lincoln continued to believe in patience and perseverance. He knew that great change takes time. He trusted that history would understand his choices, even if people around him did not. Abraham Lincoln's life ended in a tragic way, but his legacy never ended. Even after his death, people remembered him as a man who changed the history of a nation. He was not perfect, but he was honest, brave, and deeply committed to justice. Lincoln showed the world that true leadership is not about power, but about responsibility. He listened to different opinions, stayed calm during crises, and always tried to do what was right, even when it was unpopular. During the hardest moments of the Civil War, he believed that the country could heal and become stronger. What makes Lincoln's story so powerful is not only that he became president, but how he lived before success. He lost elections, failed in business, lived in poverty, and faced deep personal pain. Many people would have given up, but Lincoln never did. His life teaches us an important lesson. Failure does not define you. Giving up does. Lincoln believed that patience, hard work, and moral strength could change the future. Step by step, he proved that a poor boy with no advantages could rise to lead a nation. Today, Abraham Lincoln is remembered as one of the greatest leaders in history. His words still inspire millions of people around the world. His journey reminds us that success often comes after many failures, and that persistence can turn impossible dreams into reality. Final message for the listener: never give up. Even if you fail many times, be patient and keep learning. Stay honest and strong during difficult moments. Believe that your past does not limit your future.